Alright, huge movie fanatic, Nate, reporting to you from the lovely St. Croix River on this June 23rd, Monday, 2014. This video will be uploaded later. I still have some reviews to upload that I did 2 days ago. But I'm, as I say, paddling the lovely St. Croix River, coming to you with another movie review, which is very appropriately, a river runs through it. I'd never seen this movie, when it came out, which I think was 1993 or somewhere around that time. I was, pretty much watching Jason Goes to Hell, and as a teenager, being however old I wasn't interested in a movie per se necessarily like this. I would have been interested, as I am now, in the beautiful photography of what I presume to actually be filmed in Montana. I would have been interested in that, in the beautiful river, photography and stuff. But what's interesting is my tastes really haven't changed, because for me, I just saw it for the very first time last night. I bought it on DVD at Half Price Books, probably maybe last fall or last winter, for $3 clearance bin DVD, and just put it on the pile. I've got just piles and piles and piles of movies, $3 and a lot of $2 ones, clearance bin, Half Price Books, clearance, not a bin, but a rack or whatever, clearance roll cart. And as the winter wore on and spring was arriving, I was like, well, there's no point to watch it now. I'll just wait for spring or summer and watch it and review it on the river. So I saw it for the very first time last night, planning to come to the river today. And aside from the beautiful, what I presume to be Montana scenery on actual 35mm, there's not much more to the movie for me than that. A river runs through it is a perfect example of what I'd call just one of these cookie cutter movies that are made for the majority of sheep. Obviously it follows a whatever religious family, and Tom Skerritt or whatever is this whatever they call him, pastor, priest, father, whatever the hell he is. And I spent the first, I don't know, however many minutes rolling my eyes each time one of his little sermons or things showed up. I was surprised how, it's a 2-hour movie. I was surprised how little substance there really was in it, other than, as I can't stress enough, the beautiful photography of just the land and the rivers. I'm not a fisherman. I don't like to kill animals. But, the fly fishing photography was cool, and the shots of the line going like this and backlit by the sun. Beautiful photography is pretty much all the movie has going for it. I was really surprised how, but I mean, I'm not a big Robert Redford fan as far as movies that he makes. I was surprised, for me, how devoid of any real interesting material the movie was. It starts off with a younger version of the two characters, which will follow being older later on, and I guess one of the kids, the older of the two kids, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's first movie. It's a pretty impressive first movie. And as the movie kept going on, I was like, you know, this is one of those movies where someone's gonna die. You know, this is one of those movies that ends melancholy, you know, where someone's gonna die, you know, and early off in the movie, maybe whatever, first fourth of it or something like that, Brad Pitt does the thing where he foolishly rides the boat. Or actually both of the brothers do it, I guess, I think. Foolishly rides the boat down the rapids. And I'm like, well, you can't die already. There were several moments in the movie where Brad Pitt could have potentially died. And when he went back to gamble at that one place, he was sure he wasn't going to show up the next day. And it's just... the characters are so boring for me in this movie. The best... I keep coming back to the best thing about this movie is the river. I mean, the river is the star, and a river runs through it. Obviously, you know, there were several opportunities to show off the great music of that era. That's one of the pluses for me of this movie, is it takes place in the first half, you know, of the 20th century, which is pretty much my favorite time in recorded history. And we got to hear, not enough really for my taste, but some selections from the music of that era, and just, you know, that girl that the one older brother ended up falling for, you know, looked pretty great in those old clothes and that they wore, like the women wore. She looked pretty cute in that outfit, or those outfits. So 2 stars for A River Runs Through It. A lot of that, maybe half or 3/4 of a star of that, is just the beautiful, what I presume to be Montana scenery and photography. I've said it previously in several other videos, like, I think the what the hell's that movie? Close Encounters of the Third Kind review that my dad's mom, well, she's still there. She outlived both of her kids, my dad and his brother. She's still out in Montana. But when I was a kid, like in the 80s, took a couple trips to see her, and beautiful country, that's for sure. The last time I was there was '99. But I have this photograph, this picture that my dad took of me, which I think was one of his favorite pictures of me, if not favorite, from when I was a kid, which is understandable. It's kind of a magical picture. There's this little river pretty close to where she used to live back in those days. And I was playing, we drove down to it or whatever, and I was playing in it, and I ended up, you know, falling. Wasn't, I mean, it's really shallow, you know, but, you know, if you fell down while you're walking in it or whatever, obviously you're gonna get your pants and your whole bottom's all wet. And he was like, oh, give me a break, you know. But we turned the situation, which wasn't really a big deal, getting wet, into a great photo op, which went down in the history books for us as being probably one of the best, if not the best, picture of me as a young kid. So that was actually taken in Montana in one of these little shallow rivers. But I, of course, obviously enjoy, you don't have to be a fly fisherman or a fisherman to enjoy the rivers. I, of course, enjoy the rivers without killing anything, and simply going on the river and traversing it under your own manpower. For me, this is one of the greatest things. One of the greatest things for me that I do. One of my greatest passions. There's like little to no wind today, and I've gotten so much sun lately that the overcast is actually kind of welcomed, and I'm fine with it. So a river runs through it, which again is one of these, what I'd call cookie cutter sentimentality crap that isn't, in my opinion, very deep. And obviously like a pro-religious movie, which I have a problem with, being a man of sound mind and body. But we'll leave it at that. 2 stars for A River Runs Through It. Anything else I can think of about the movie? Oh yeah, the thing I didn't like, one of the things I didn't like is when they're kids and they see a fight between like adults or something, and then it cuts right to them finding kids their age and fighting. This movie is pro so many stupid things that humans do. Religion and needless fighting. I rolled my eyes several times throughout the course of the movie when they'd be at church or they'd be fighting needlessly and stuff. So maybe we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe on the river, will ya?